What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Ravens Today, part of the FanArc Sports Network. I'm your host, Connor Gioffreda, giving you all the latest updates on anything and all things Ravens. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video, follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Before we get started, got to give a huge shout out to our friends over at Kalshi for sponsoring this video. Use code FanArcFootball to get $10 when you trade 10 on the Kalshi app. Again, that is code FanArcFootball to get $10 when you trade 10. Okay, people, this is a very hot take, but hear me out on this because I will explain. I will probably get a lot of people that may disagree with me on this, but hear me out again. Say this because there are options here, and why not? Because the way that our tight ends, our rookie tight ends, have been looking in the preseason games and looking in training camp, it looks like we aren't going to rely on Mark Andrews as or going to need him as much. If that hear me out. Because in previous offensive schemes, Mark Andrews was the guy. He was the guy. Lamar Jackson's number one target, and probably still is Lamar Jackson's top target, minus Zay Flowers. But again, got Jacoby Lane now. Rashad Bateman's having a great camp. From recent news, if you guys haven't caught up with that, whatever's going on in his personal life will have to wait until next year. So, okay, we don't have to worry about that at this point in time. But again, if these things are true, and we're just not going to get into that. But what if the Ravens decided to trade Mark Andrews? And what if, I'm just saying this because again, it is a very hot take. I mean, maybe it's not, because maybe some of you guys want to trade Mark Andrews out. Like, we want him out of there because, he was struggling last season. He doesn't look good in camp. And we signed him to a 3-year, it's a 1-year deal with like 2 other years added for as incentives. If you guys like read between the fine lines of that, because that's pretty much what it is. Trading Mark Andrews. And again, really hot take. What if we trade Mark Andrews for Garrett Bowles? Left tackle for Denver. Okay, hear me out. He is struggling in camp. We have seen the footage. We have heard about it. He's dropping passes, and he hasn't looked like the Mark Andrews of old. Meanwhile, Suevas and Hibner are looking great in camp, looking good in their preseason, debuts. And I will make I'll play a devil's advocate. I'll play the other argument here that, Mark Andrews can pull it together and he will be the guy. Again, we don't have to rely on him as much because of Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Derrick Henry, Jacoby Lane, for crying out loud. Oh, Jacoby Lane. I can't wait to get that, connection with Lamar where he's going deep. I can't wait for that. Anyway, Andrew's struggling in camp. This raises some eyebrows because, again, the Ravens signed him to, a 3-year deal. Should have kept Isaiah Likely and let Andrew march, I would put down money. That Mark Andrews would have gone to the Giants with John Harbaugh. Put it down myself. Oh, Ravens should have kept Isaiah Likely. They should have kept Charlie Kolar. It made the most sense unless there was like an absurd amount of money that Isaiah Likely was asking for. It made the most sense. I know all of you guys probably agree with me on that. Like that, we should have kept Isaiah Likely over Mark Andrews. And the fact that Mark Andrews is struggling in camp is just proving it. It's just, look at how Isaiah Likely's doing in camp. If you guys have kept up with him, doing great. He has a bright future ahead of him on the Giants, and I'm happy for him, but I hate it at the same time. Selfishly, I hate it. He is struggling in camp. Wow, Isaiah Likely is thriving. Why not trade for a left tackle in Garrett Bowles? Mind you, I get it. We already have a left tackle with Ronnie Stanley. I get it. But Mark Andrews going to Denver wouldn't be a bad idea. Again, it doesn't really address the whole tight end situation we got going on, and it relies heavily on playing devil's advocate again on our rookies. But so far, they've done pretty well in the preseason. They've done well in training camp, better than Mark Andrews has been doing. So again, I would put down money. Mark Andrews would be on the Giants right now had we kept Isaiah Likely. We still probably would have drafted tight ends just for Isaiah Likely to have behind him. Isaiah Likely would be our number one right now on the tight end roster of the main roster, and Mark Andrews would be on the Giants. I would put down money on that. Absolutely put down money. And speaking of money, it's you just you guys have to listen here, okay? Before the season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. Who wins the division? Who makes the playoffs? Who's lifting the trophy at season's end? On Kalshi, America's number one prediction market. You can trade those predictions in a live market, okay? Say, for instance, can the Ravens win at least 13 games this season? Ravens are currently sitting at 20% probability, meaning 100% payout. There's a lot of money here, people. Is at $339.67 if they reach 13 wins. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. Trade the draft pick, the game, and more on Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app and use code FANARCFootball to get $10 when you trade 10. KLSHI. Kalshi, trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Kalshi products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. I mean, come on. We can get to 13 wins pretty easily. I think that is my prediction. I think we are going to get 13 or more wins. But again, back to the point at hand. I mentioned Garrett Bowles. And again, we already have a left tackle in Ronnie Stanley. Garrett Bowles has, he has experience under his belt. But the main objective here is to protect Lamar Jackson instead of giving him another weapon. He already has enough weapons. Let's say he does. Let's say that we're all in on the fact that Jacoby Lane is going to be the next guy. Like, not the next guy in the sense of he's the number one wide receiver. That's Zay Flowers' spot for now. But a guy that Lamar Jackson has that type of chemistry with that he had with Mark Andrews. Mind you, Ronnie Stanley's been struggling. We've seen it in training camp. We have the best offensive line coach in the league, and Dwayne Ledford right now. Just seeing Ronnie Stanley being, not having it. I could say this, that Ronnie Stanley struggled last year because of the fact that Andrew Voorhees was next to him. He couldn't do this, he couldn't do two positions at once. Same with Roger Rosengarten, who had Daniel Falele next to him, but, toilet paper could have protected Lamar Jackson better than Daniel Falele. But with, that idea, we can get into the specifics on another time of, if that were to happen, if we were to acquire Bowles, then we can trade Ronnie Stanley for a veteran tight end in the league. but that we can get to that in another video. Stanley's been struggling. We are acquiring veteran left tackle experience with him, durability, legitimate pass protection. He has experience against the most elite AFC pass rushers, and he would take the starting job immediately. There would be no question about that. Just saying. It's a very hot take. I understand. It wouldn't be that high of a thing anyway, you know? We wouldn't be signing him to a mega $1 million deal. It wouldn't be a rental. No. The cap space would be a bargain. At least, $6 million in cap, we can do that. Or, better yet, we send Andrews and Stanley over to the Broncos, get him, and then Broncos are, fine with a left tackle and Stanley. Then they get Mark Andrews. Mind you, I don't think that would ever happen, and I would very passionately, vehemently disagree with that. We trade Mark Andrews and a 5th round pick for Bowles. They don't need help at the offensive line position. Gives Knicks another weapon. Yeah, Mark Andrews is struggling in camp. We don't know if that would transition over to the Denver Broncos. And besides, my verdict, it's a maybe for me. Again, this is a very, very hot take. I know. But think about it, people. Mark Andrews has been struggling. He hasn't come in clutch. I mean, what if the guys that we, drafted are able to do that? It would be asking a lot of them, but at the same time, they're looking pretty good. But we don't have to rely on them, as much as we would have in the past. When Lamar Jackson had Willie Snead, Miles Boykin, Hollywood Brown, I'll put his name in there. He was not consistent. And Mark Andrews was the only guy that Lamar Jackson could trust enough to come down with the football. That isn't the case now. We have a better wide receiver core. Stars in the making, hopefully. Need pass protection. And guys that are already struggling on the offensive line, I'd rather have it addressed sooner rather than later. Yeah, it's a hot take, but I want to hear your guys' opinion on it. I mean, sure. Let's just disagree with me in the comments section all you want. That's perfect. I love to hear that. But at the end of the day, there has to be something done about Mark Andrews. Because if he isn't producing, he's already struggling. What's going to happen in the regular season when Lamar throws to him? Andrews doesn't come down with the football. Could be a costly thing like that. I hate to bring this up because this is another PTSD moment for me. That divisional round playoff game against the Bills. What if that happens again? What if it's in the Super Bowl? What if it's in the AFC Championship? I don't want to see that happen again. If Mark Andrews doesn't pull it together, then those are the conversations we need to start having. Thank you for tuning into Ravens today. I'm your host, Connor Gioffreda. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Again, huge shout out to our friends over at Calci for sponsoring this video. Have a good one, everyone.